Hello, and welcome to the New Member Workshop. My name is Renee Willingham Hamilton, and I am your TSDAR Membership Chair, as well as the Regent for the General William Lenoir Chapter in Lenoir City, Tennessee. We are so glad you're here, and I want to welcome you to DAR and everything that it offers: history, friendship, community service, and so much more. So why are we here? To give you some tips and information that I did not know when I first came into DAR about 8 years ago. And I want to offer this to you as an opportunity for you to be able to bring these things back to your chapter and help you feel like you know more about DAR. So here's one. What state did your patriots serve in during the American Revolution? We are the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. That's not to be confused with the Daughters of the Revolution of 1776. Many times people will think that they are in DAR when actually they were in another organization. That organization was disbanded in 1983, and if by chance you would need Patriot records from them, they are now held at the Suffolk County Historical Society in Riverhead, New York. I do have that web link if you need it. Feel free to contact me if that is something that you might need references for. Our NSDAR motto is Rise and Shine for America. Since its founding in 1890, DAR has admitted more than 1 million members. We are a nonprofit, non-political volunteer women's service organization dedicated to promoting patriotism, preserving American history, and securing America's future through better education. We're women dedicated to the objectives of the society, and our common bond is lineal descent from a Revolutionary War patriot. That's not to be confused with collateral descent, which means that you can come in through aunts and uncles. We are lineal, which means all the way through the mother, father, or mother and father on each generation, but not an aunt or uncle. We also volunteer thousands of hours annually to veteran patients and award thousands of dollars in scholarships and financial aid each year to students and support schools for underserved children with annual donations exceeding $1 million. These are our DAR founders. Mary DeShay was a government clerk and teacher in Lexington, Kentucky, and she has a DAR member of 4. Mary Lockwood, she was president of the Women's Press Club from Hanover, New York. She had a DAR number of 27. Ellen Walworth, she was an attorney and boarding school owner from Jacksonville, Illinois, and she was number 5. And then Eugenia Washington, she was a government clerk from Charlestown, West Virginia. She was number 1. So I have a question for you. What district is your chapter in? That's important to know that answer. Our first President General was Caroline Scott Harrison. She served from 1890 to 1892. And more information on the founders and our first President General can be found in the book, The Wide Blue Sash, which is available from the DAR store. Caroline Scott Harrison, she was national number 7, addressed the Daughters of the American Revolution at the opening of the First Continental Congress at the Church of Our Father in Washington on February 22, 1892. It was the first public speech given by a First Lady. This is the NSDAR Headquarters. They're located at 1776 D Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. They're comprised of 3 adjoining buildings on one city block. They're owned and maintained exclusively by women, and 2 of those buildings are registered historic landmarks. Constitution Hall is the largest concert hall in D.C. They have a staff of 140, and they've been featured in many movies and TV shows. Here's the DAR Library. The library is one of the largest genealogical research centers in the United States, and it's very awe-inspiring to go in there and to see all of the books and documents that hold the lineage for the Patriots. This is the DAR Museum. It has 31 period rooms and a changing exhibition hall. And on this slide, you'll notice up on the right-hand side is the Tennessee room. The President General has given us a membership goal of reaching 200,000 members by 2022. We have 3,000 plus chapters in 13 countries and 1 U.S. territory, members from all walks of life, and now more than 1 million members have been admitted since our founding in 1890. One thing I want to point out to you is on the national website, you can go to the members resource link. You'll find out more about the Luminary Challenge there that has shimmer, radiant, and brilliant levels. And be sure to check out the Brightest Star newsletter. Now to tell you a little bit about NSDAR governance. Our governance is listed through DAR Handbook and National Bylaws, which is available on the national site. We are governed by a National Board of Management that consists of the President General and the Executive Board that are elected to 3-year terms. We have 21 Vice Presidents General that are elected for 3-year rotating terms, and 53 state regents elected for various terms, generally 2 or 3 years at a time. This is Denise Doreen Van Buren. She is our current President General, and she is considered CEO of the NSDAR, an official spokesperson for the National Society. She's been a real blessing to have at the helm during this pandemic. This slide just shows the Van Buren administration. And the reason why I have it here is because I wanted to alert you that every president, when they come into office, bring with them their team of executive members. And this is what we call their administration. The theme for this administration, symbolized by the golden sun, is Rise and Shine for America. The Van Buren administration continues to celebrate the spirit of men and women who achieved our nation's independence. We continue to try to be involved in our communities, and we're working hard to reach our goal of 200,000 members by 2022. If you'll notice at the top of this slide, there's a sunshine pin that has the crystals in it. I'm actually wearing that same one. That is the President General's pin, but then you also have an option for the sunrise pin that does not have the crystals. Every administration has a scripture also. And the Van Buren administration chose Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. This slide talks about the Van Buren administration mission statement. You can read it. It's also on your handouts. But a few things to point out. She wants to energize members to rise up in meaningful service. She also hopes to educate the public about our patriots and the sacrifices they made, and working on the final phase of restoration for the DAR Constitution Hall. Most of the volunteer work of DAR is accomplished under a committee system, which promotes the Society's mission of historic preservation, education, and patriotism. There are more than 40 committees in DAR. Each of these has a specific purpose, but not many chapters are involved in all of them. So you can kind of pick and choose which ones are more tailored to your chapter and your chapter goals. Members are encouraged to be involved with more than one committee and find one that's of interest to them. And if there's one here that you might be interested in that your chapter doesn't have, go ahead and start it up. And I always encourage my chapter members that even if they achieve one goal of that committee, that's fine per year. And it gives us something to be diverse about and offer more for new people coming in and the current members. This slide talks about the special committees. One of them that I would like to point out to you is the units overseas. And I want to let you know that the units overseas, the membership dues that they have for their associate members is the money that they have to spend to do their projects. So it's very important for us to become associate members for our overseas chapters because we're the ones that will help them achieve their chapter goals. This slide talks about the standing committees, which is DAR leadership training and development, and then our commissions, which is chapter development and revitalization. Now, communication. We have the American Spirit magazine and the Daughters newsletter. Subscriptions are $18 per year, and the members receive the supplement of the Daughters newsletter. One of my favorite things about that newsletter is you can have chapter reports that you submit. There's also the national reports for the various committees. And then my favorite part is always the listing of the new patriots that have been proven since the last newsletter that came out. DAR has made amazing progress in bringing the organization into the 21st century. Technology is amazing. Our websites are beautiful, informative, and useful. The genealogical records which are available for members' use are growing and fabulous. Our President General keeps us up to date with her blog and the latest news. This is our Tennessee state theme and logo. A season of service to God, home, and country. The Tennessee Society had the first chapter organized on December 18th of 1892. We now have over 6,000 members and over 90 chapters in 5 districts. We also have 5 historic sites that we help support. Blunt Mansion, Brainerd Mission, David Crockett Cabin Museum, Fort Nashville, and Rock House. And just like national, each state has a hierarchy of command. Cecile Sliger Wimberly is our Tennessee State Regent. She serves as the CEO of the TSDAR and is our official spokesperson for the State Society. This is her state theme. This is her scripture from Ecclesiastes 3:1. For everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. This is her symbol, which is the dogwood, and that's also been fashioned into earrings and her state pin. And so I will show you the State Regent's pin. Here is the dogwood. And that brings me to the point where I can tell you that part of the protocol when you're wearing jewelry with DAR is your President General's pin needs to always be higher than your State Regent pin. Okay, so that's why you'll see that my right-sided pins, okay, are a little bit lower than my left-sided pins. And there's a purpose for that. The left-sided pins are your insignia and pins. Your right side will have various other things like junior membership pin. Also, your name tag goes on the right-hand side. And the reason for that is because when you go up to meet someone and you shake their hand, you'll have their face and their name right in line for it to be easy for you to see. This slide talks about the state organization and reporting structure. Now, the reason I have this slide for you is because I wanted you to see that technically the way this works is states report, the chapters report to the state reports to the national level, and the national level actually gives a congressional report because DAR is a congressionally appointed organization. Our records are held in the Library of Congress also. These are our TSDAR districts. There are 5. There's Chickasaw, Cumberland, Sequoia, Cherokee, and Appalachian. This slide shares with you the TSDAR state committees, and as you'll see, they also kind of mirror what's at the national level. These are some state clubs. You have your state officers club, your state chairman's club, the chapter regents club, the Tennessee Cameo Society, and that's a society for mothers and daughters, grandmothers. Some states will allow nieces, some allow cousins. You just have to make sure that you check and see, even if you're wanting to join a Cameo Society in another state. In Tennessee, whoever you're joining with has to be a member of the Tennessee Society. So if you have, say, a daughter in Wisconsin and you're here in Tennessee, She cannot join in Wisconsin and you join in Tennessee. You both have to join in Tennessee together. There's the Junior Society, the Pages Club, and the 50-Year Club. This is our communication websites. You'll see there is a public website and there's also a private website. The difference between the two is that the private website is www.tndar.org/members. Okay, and that's the same way with the national site, www.dar.org/members. The communication for us is through our newsletter. We have 4 per year, 2 print copies and 2 electronic copies, and past issues are available on the members website. Now, this is the proper way to write your chapter name. So like in, say, for my chapter as an example, it would say General William Lenore Chapter, NSDAR. Chapter bylaws must comply with state and national bylaws. Chapters must pay dues in a timely manner. Chapters must file an IRS 990N. Chapter treasurers must file financials with the Tennessee Department of Charitable Solicitations. And individual chapters can pick committees that work for them. So now a little bit about terminology. What is a regent? The regent is the chapter leader, and she can serve in the absence of the President General. What is an honorary? A member that previously held a leadership position. They're elected to hold honorary status in chapter, state, and the National Society. This is a slide of some of our honored Tennessee daughters. Sashes. Sashes are made of watered ribbon. Members wear the ribbon of the highest rank reached. They may not be worn with pants, and the state regent sash is the same as an insignia ribbon. This is important, and so I highlighted it. The wider the higher, the bluer the newer, and that will help you know the rank of people in DAR. What is a junior member? A member that has not reached her 36th birthday. They have full membership rights in the organization. They can hold any office or chairmanship, and they're eligible for the Outstanding Junior Contest. Well, how can we sponsor junior members? Well, we can do that through paying a donation towards the junior retreat, which is when juniors get together every year. They go, they have camaraderie, they get to meet each other, they network, they work on ideas for the coming year, and they build lifetime friendships. And every year it gets posted on the state website, the date that they'll have the junior retreat. You don't have to be a junior member to support junior membership. They need our help, and so as daughters, we should help any way we can. Jennifer Thomas Woods is our current Tennessee Outstanding Junior. And what is a page? A page is a member under the age of 40. They work at state and national events. They wear those white dresses and sashes, and they can serve on national and state committees. I also want to remind you at this time that you can support the Page Angel Fund. And the Page Angel Fund is where we can help offset some of the expenses for our pages at events. And what is the CMR? There is a method to the madness of reports. Chapters report to state, state reports to national, and national reports to Congress. So please remember to spell correctly and cross all your T's and dot your I's. I want Tennessee's documents to look great. What is the SIP and what is the NIP? The SIP is the state information packet and the NIP is the national information packet. These are both documents that we use as chapters every year to figure out our goals and get ideas for what we're going to be doing for the coming year. National sets the original goals, and then state pulls from that and creates ours, and then as chapters we work to achieve those goals. What is the PMD? The Prospective Member Database. We all lived in the PMD before we became chapter daughters. So anytime you have a prospective member, they go into this database, and then consequently what we do, they can get assigned to chapters, or chapters can work in that database, keeping the state aware of what's going on with prospective members. So what is it about all those pins and ribbons? Our insignia, it can refer to the line art drawing of our national symbol or the pins that are worn by members. It was adopted on May 26th of 1891 and patented on September 22nd of 1891. It's important to know you wear your insignia and your pins on your left side, the side of your heart, okay? Right-sided pins are not allowed to be worn on your left side, and vice versa. It's important to remember, too, the insignia is the property of the National Society and may not be used for commercial purposes or as an ornament. Now, if you're going to have it on stationery, it should be in the top center above any writing or the upper left-hand corner. If you're doing chapter banners, community signs, or grave markers, then it should be in the center. And what is it with all those pins? It's like adult Disney. There are chapter and ancestor or patriot pins. There are state pins. There's state centennial pins, donation pins, commemorative pins, volunteer service pins, officer pins for chapter, state, and national, club pins, and state and national chairman pins. There are specific requirements for each pin and when it may be purchased. But I want to tell you that these pins are always individual to each daughter. Okay, so there are no two ribbons alike. And they'll often represent different causes that we're devoted to. You can have pins, say if you had someone in World War I, like I do, I have a World War I pin. I had my father fight in World War II, so I have a World War II pin. I have an older brother who was in Vietnam. I have a Vietnam pin. And I can make donations towards those various causes. Okay, probably my most prized pins are my Patriot pins, but a very, very close one to that is my Serving the Nation. If not, that may be my very favorite pin. Serving the Nation is for those of us that are veterans. Now, the insignia and ribbon should be worn over the left breast and only by active members. Now, it's okay to wear a flag pin on the left lapel when you wear your DAR insignia, but no other jewelry is to be worn on that left side, okay? And your basic insignia costs, it's about $200 to $215. The insignia pin, the pins, the ribbon, and the sash ribbons are to be worn only at functions of the National Society, state organizations or chapters, or when representing the organization. They may be worn during the dedication of a grave marker for a deceased daughter, or they can also be worn at the funeral of a deceased daughter. Daughters may sign the memorial book as a DAR member, and they should not be worn on the street, in a restaurant, a cocktail lounge, or other public places unless a DAR or affiliated function is taking place then and there. They should not be worn with pants or slacks, but they may be worn with pantsuits, such as business attire. National publishes a list of pin order every year, so you can go there and follow the order that they direct. This will change from year to year as new pins are designed. They are left-sided pins and right-sided pins. Do not put the right side on the left side or vice versa. Now, I was going to show you this is what the new administration's list looks like, and you can go to the national website and download it. On mine, you'll see that I've highlighted several as you go through it, and that's just because those are the pins that I do have, and I'm preparing to replace and move some pins on my ribbon because I have some to add. So now what you want to look at is you're going to start from the top on the side that has your insignia at the very bottom that dangles. You'll start at the top and you'll work down, and then you can cross over. The highest rank that you hold in a chapter is what goes in the outermost part at your shoulder. Okay? Right above your insignia is where all of your Patriot pins will go. When you're ready to buy these pins, you can shop at the DAR Insignia store. This is their website, and you can also email them at that email address, or you can give them a call. These are some protocol pointers, just courtesies to honor those in position of leadership. Rise as a sign of respect when the President General and the State Regent are presented, and also at the entrance of the processional. Stand for the opening ritual and remain standing until it is complete. And at a meal, no one should begin eating until the presiding or highest ranking officer has lifted her fork. Now, the President General is the highest ranking officer of the National Society. She is the honored guest at any DAR function and should always be given the place of honor. The State Regent is the highest ranking officer in her state, and recognition as such should be accorded her. It's always customary for members to rise as a sign of respect for the office when the President General and the State Regent are presented. Some helpful reminders. DAR members wear gloves when receiving. It is not mandatory, and the hostess will set the example. You want to make sure you remove the glove from the right hand before placing it over the heart while reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and while singing the National Anthem. And never hold anything in your hands when reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. For those of us that are veterans, it's also okay for us to salute the flag when it is in procession, or if we're giving a salute for the pledge and also for the national anthem. Now here's an example of gloves. You can get these at the DAR National Store. And those are hand and wrist gloves. But I also own opera length gloves. And the reason I have those are if I have a sequin dress that is either spaghetti strap or cap sleeves, something short and not a longer sleeved gown. That's when I wear my opera length gloves. Some tips on NSDAR protocol and procedure. Again, your state regent is the highest ranking officer in her state. She is always introduced first at any chapter, district, or state function. Next, you can introduce others in order of rank. Members should rise when the state regent is introduced and when she concludes her address at state conference, district meetings, and at any chapter meetings. And in deference to their office, allow the state regent, the honorary state regents, and the state officers to enter and exit elevators and doors ahead of others and precede others in voting, registration, and buffet lines. A blue and white sash indicates a person of rank who should be accorded the respect due her office. Chapter members rise briefly when their chapter name is called during the memorial service at state conference. They stand when their chapter regent gives her report on Regents Night and at the district meeting. At Continental Congress memorial service, when a distinguished daughter from your state is memorialized and when the number of deceased daughters from your state is announced. A presiding officer does not applaud a guest speaker or performer, stands at the lectern when until the introduced guest or speaker steps into place and addresses her. After acknowledging the salutation, she's seated or stands back. The presiding officer shows no partiality introducing or thanking guests or participants, and remarks are simple and brief. Now this slide talks about some resources for new members. On the left, I had to put some Insignia do's and don'ts. You can pull those off of the national website. On the right, you're going to see In the Loop, and that's an area on the state member website where you can find newsletters, the link to the public Facebook page, DAR members only private Facebook group, and the DAR Instagram. Education tab will tell you the NSDAR webinars and the Leadership Training Committee information. Now the Leadership Training Committee, they have online learning modules with activities and tours, independent projects, and graduation. In our DAR Leadership Training Committee, Emily Robinson is the coordinator for the New Horizons, and Charlotte Miller is the coordinator for the Members Course. It's no longer called the New Members Course. It is just Members Course. This is the Members Course. This is the New Horizons course. Now, just a little bit of fun to take a minute. What side do you wear your insignia and ribbon on? It should be on the left side. What side do you wear your name tag? That should be on the right-hand side. And remember, when you're going to shake someone's hand and you're looking in their eye, then you can look right down and see their name right below there, so you can put face and name together. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I also hope that you'll have a few things that you can take back with you to your chapters to help make your DAR experience even better than before. If you need me for any reason, this is my email address and also my home and my cell phone, and I'm happy to try to help in any way that I can. Again, welcome to DAR, and we are so glad you're here.